Hi everyone, this is Erin from Sandpaper Road, and in this tutorial I'm going to show you how I made this really unique round scrapbook layout using the Our Story paper collection from Craft a Clock. Isn't this so cool? I love it. It's really easy to make, and I'm going to jump right in and show you how I did it. I am also getting together some cutouts from the vintage Bisou paper collection and a few quotes from that collection as well. That's left over from another project, a mini album that I made, and I'll put a link in the upper right corner to that mini album project if you're interested. I also had some other brads and some accessories from my stash. Now, on this paper collection, I'm definitely for sure going to use the title as part of the layout, and I just want to give you a quick walkthrough of what papers come in the paper collection. This is a very high quality paper manufactured in Poland and shipped over to the USA. If you live in the USA, you can pick up your paper collection at the Sandpaper Road shop. And there'll be links in the description box, but I'll also put a link in the upper right corner as well. This was the page I knew I wanted to use right away. So the easiest way to get the circle is I found a dinner plate from my cupboard and just laid it right on top. And you can see some of the leaves are sticking out of the plate, and that's fine. And you just trace around with a pencil and simply cut it out with scissors, and just avoiding the parts of the leaves that stick outside of the circle. Circle layouts are kind of fun, and they're really nice to use for the first page of a scrapbook album or the last page of a scrapbook album, just because it's so unique, and most likely this kind of layout will be different than the rest of the album. So it's a nice way to start off the album or finish off the album. It's also a nice way to use some extra pictures. You know how sometimes you have photos that don't really go with anything else, or that you already have enough photos on one layout and you end up with one that you really like but just doesn't fit on the layout. This is a good place to put that. So I'm just using my Tonic scissors, my 9-inch scissors there, and trimming that off, the excess. And if it isn't perfect, it really doesn't matter that much, because I'm going to take my scissors actually and sort of distress the edges in a minute. Then I have a smaller pair of scissors, and I just go in and detail fussy cut the leaves. This does take some time, and if you are not a fan of fussy cutting, just kind of be patient. Of course, you can opt to not have the pieces hanging off the end. You could just simply make it a full circle, and nobody would really ever know, or it probably would look just fine. But I like the look of things hanging off the edge, and so I wanted to fussy cut this out. Now this layout originally is part of an all-day scrapbook party for World Scrapbook Day, sponsored by Craft a Clock on their Facebook page. And depending on when you're watching this video, it might not be time for World Scrapbooking Day right now when you're watching it, but this was part of their creative team. We were making inspirational works for the little games in their contest. But honestly, this layout didn't take me hardly any time at all, and I kept looking at it at the end thinking, I wonder what else it needs, I wonder what else it needs, and I just kept saying nothing. I think it's great the way it is. So it doesn't take that long at all. So I spent some time and cut all that out. I did cut the video a little bit. And then here's what I was saying earlier about just dragging my scissor blade against the edge. And do be careful doing this. It does open up the edge of the paper and gives a really nice, like, distressed look. Plus it hides any imperfections if you didn't cut your circle like absolutely perfectly. But do be careful, because many a time I have sort of sliced my hand and finger open with my scissors. They do make distress tools. I know Ranger makes a really good paper distresser that does that same thing, but it's got like a nice handle that you can hold. But I don't have one of those little tools, so I just use my scissors. Now, I love this picture of my husband and me at our wedding. But I really wanted to, I hated to cut that picture because I just like the look of the whole picture. But I'm going to tell you that I really had to stay with the continuity of the layout. And truthfully, I can get more of those pictures. I mean, I have the whole CD. So if I cut one, what's the difference, right? So I have a circle die, and now I noticed when I held the circle die up, that was the size of the circle I wanted, but it sort of was just a hair too big for the picture, which meant that the top of the picture and the bottom of the picture were still going to stay flat. You'll see what I mean when I get it through my my Sizzix Big Shot machine here. I used a piece of washi tape just to secure it down. Now, I try not to get too bent out of shape about stuff like that. Like if the layout had a flat, or if the photo had the flat part of the circle, top and bottom. At first I was like, oh, I wanted it to be a perfect circle. But really and truly, once you get the embellishments and things like that, you don't notice. I mean, it might be like a quarter of an inch that it's flat, but you really and truly and honestly don't notice it. So I try to not get too hung up about those things. Even though I tend to be a perfectionist, art has sort of made me relax that a lot. So, speaking to all you type A personalities out there. These are some of the embellishments from the vintage Bisou collection. They are left over from the extras to cut and the die cuts that I used in a previous project, mini album project that I did for the Craft O'Clock creative team. And then there are some quotes also. And right now I'm really just sort of playing with some placement. I knew what I wanted it to look like, but I can't just go sticking stuff down on a whim, or I'll change my mind and then it'll be a big mess. So the one quote says, our time, and the other quote says true love. And then I've got a few clocks, but now I didn't want to get too matchy and see these pieces of paper here. At first I thought I was going to make the hands of the clock out of those pieces of paper just by doing, skinny rectangles, or maybe just cutting them myself or something like that. And I knew I wanted to use a nice brad in the middle, but here, I'm telling you, I just didn't want to do so matchy. Oh, then for a minute, I thought I would cut out some of those leaves and use those for the hands of the clock. And then I found in my stash some of these, they're like little hat pins, little embellishments for scrapbooking. And I hadn't even used them yet. Actually, my aunt gave them to me when she was cleaning out her scrapbooking stuff. And I thought, oh my gosh, that is so what I want. That was just so perfect. So I was determined to use these little hat pins in the layout, and I thought, oh, I'm using them. I don't really know exactly how I'll attach them at this moment, but I'm using them. So what I usually do is I lay out just the stuff that I want to use, just kind of in a rough way. And then usually I end up taking a picture with my phone. And then like that, I found this pack of brads in my stash that I hadn't even opened yet. And I thought, well, maybe I'll put that in the middle and somehow get those hat pins to go in the middle. So all of those are just basic plans. I didn't really have a plan at this point, and you'll see me, I'm still doing a lot of thinking as I go. But if you're new to scrapbooking, you're probably going to find that, look what I'm trying to do here. I pulled that brad out. I thought for sure I was going to be able to thread that thing through the brad and then just stick the brad with one big hole down in the middle. That was not working. So while I was thinking more about it, I thought, oh, well, I'll just go ahead and ink the edges here. Now I do have a, like a craft mat on my table, but I wanted to show you, sometimes I'll just put down just a scrap of something, especially like a glossy something, just the back of a something. And then that's how I'll do my inking, because then I don't have to clean my whole craft mat. I can just keep moving on my flow. And I just gently went around those things that stick out. And it's just regular distress ink. Doesn't it look better? I like that a lot. It looks really good. I love the script in the middle of the wreath. Oh, and look how good that looks. So yeah, the quote that says "our time" is basically covering up that flat edge. And then on the top, it's not going to matter because those leaves, that leafy pattern of the wreath, you know, kind of disguises it as well. Now, here's what I'm doing. The top piece of foam from those brads that are there in the pack, I put the top piece of foam there over to the right. It's that white piece of foam I've got. And then I found a stylus. It's just like a metal stylus with a ball edge. And I'm just pushing really gently on the flowers. Now, I say gently, this paper is 250 GSM, which basically means it's really thick and nice, high quality paper. It feels almost like a cardstock, and that's the actual scrapbook paper and the embellishments, the flowers and stuff as well. So I can get away with pushing on this, on the flowers, and all it's doing is making a little bit of dimension here on the flowers so that they don't just look like flat two-dimensional flowers, but it gives it a little bit of kind of like raises up the center a little bit, just kind of makes the leaves of the flowers kind of curl and the petals and stuff, just gives them a little bit of dimension and texture. Now, you might not be able to get away with doing that with some other pattern papers just because they're thinner and you might punch a hole through them. So I decided to use the Our Story, which is from the packaging of the paper collection, and then put that down on the page. Again, this is all just laid out, and I'm gonna put that brad right where that O is. I just know it, and it's gonna look really, really good. So now it's time for me to just glue things down, and I'm using my Xyron Mega Runner for the scrapbook adhesive. Of course, for some of the metal stuff, I don't know that I'm gonna probably have to use, you know, like a hot glue and things like that. But for the scrapbook adhesive, and especially for the photo, I definitely want to make sure to use my Xyron tape runner and the Xyron Mega Runner. Here is just my paper, my pokey tool. And I was going to go ahead and do that brad first. And I thought, now, wait a minute. Before I start doing stuff, let me put all the flat stuff down first. So there's my Xyron tape runner right on the photo. And I stick that right down. It looks so good. You know, there's little details about the way a page is constructed that your eye finds pleasing. For example, I don't know if you noticed this before, but like, I obviously see all the little clocks that I'm going to be using around the thing. Well, the hands on the clock are all at a certain angle. They form a certain angle. I don't know if you can see there, like 10:15 and 10:15. Well, if you happen to notice the picture of my husband and of me, our glasses, we're both wearing glasses in the picture, and our glasses form that same kind of angle. Even though it's not turned the same way, the angle is very similar to the angle that's formed of the hands in those clock extras. And when I put the hands with the hat pins, when I put the hands on the layout last, you'll see that those also form that same angle. It just really creates a different kind of a level of continuity and cohesiveness in the project. I know maybe you guys don't think I'll like that, but that's the kind of stuff, you know, I'll sacrifice the little, the couple little details like a flat edge on a circle, but I'll go deeper into those kind of things. And incidentally, that's the kind of stuff I also notice in other people's layouts. You know, did you take maybe not you, but did the person take some time to really try to bring out things that I wouldn't ordinarily have seen? even with something like that, bringing attention to something that I wouldn't ordinarily have seen just at first glance. So I did use my hot glue gun there to put down some of the flowers. I would not use my hot glue gun on a picture or on something like that because it would just pop right off eventually, and of course wouldn't be very good for the photo. Sometimes if I don't have some foam adhesive or something like that, I will go in and just take like scraps of cardboard like I'm doing here. I mean, this is literally just a scrap that I use to glue stuff on, you know, and I'll take and snip off just a few squares just randomly and just create like a little dimensional, I keep saying dimensional, it's really just like a lift, you know. Create a little high-heeled shoe for your little embellishments there. And see that I'm not afraid to use hot glue because it's quick and it'll hold good, and just on the embellishments it's not that big of a deal. Use a little acrylic block there to just set while I'm getting my life together, and then in just a few seconds it's ready to go, and then I can put my little embellishment right on top of that, and it just creates some nice little lift. Just a little bit. If you have dimensional foam, you know, or double-sided foam or foam tape or something, it does the same thing. I just didn't have any at the moment. So I just stick a little pokey tool right through the O, and there's my brad going right through the O. That looks so good. I love it. And now I'm going to think about how to put these little hands on there. There, see? Now look at our glasses and then look at the angle there. It's not done very, very well, but just laying it down. It really just is a cool little detail. I really like it a lot. So here was my genius idea. I almost cut this out of the video because I didn't end up using it, but I left it in because I thought, oh, they'll probably get a kick out of this. And maybe if you have these or something like this, then now you can see what happens before you do it. This is not a good idea, folks. It's not. I really and truly thought that this was going to be the way I would do it. I poked that thing through. It stayed really well. I mean, the staying power was fine. It just, it didn't look good to me. I did not like that, first of all. But I had to do it to see. You can't, that's something you can't try, or you can't see it until you try it. So I thought, oh well, it's just gonna be two little holes if I don't like it. I tried to flatten it out the best I could. It just wouldn't go flat. And then I look at it, see? And then I was thinking to myself, okay, well, I'll just put cardboard or foam on the inside of the parts that are all buckled. Look, you can see me getting the foam. I was going to try to do that. I thought, well, that'll solve the problem. And I thought, no, what'll solve the whole problem is if I just don't do this, because I don't really like it anyways. So I took it apart. I sure did take it apart. And like I said, because it only was just one little tiny hole, I just pushed the paper back down and called it a day. It was no big deal at all. I do have some 3D matte gel that I got from, well, I don't know where I got it. I've had it for a long time, but it's by Prima Marketing. It's really good. It's what I use in all my mixed media projects, like when I have to glue down metal or something on a canvas, because it holds everything. It would probably hold my car if I glued my car to the driveway. That's a joke. So I just put a little bit. There's like these beads. It'll dry clear. And yeah, I just, because it's a wet glue, I could move it around a little bit and get it exactly where I wanted it. And you don't need much either. It's literally like, I don't want to say a drop because it doesn't come out in drops. It's like the consistency of like a petroleum jelly, or like a Vaseline, you know, or like a really thick cream. It's really thick. And I know you're probably thinking, could I use Mod Podge or something like that? I don't know. Mod Podge has a really high water content, and it's really good for certain things, like decoupage or like as a sealant. But for something like this, I really can't think of anything that would work better than a gel medium. Matte or gloss. That part I don't think matters very much, but really and truly like a gel medium. Well, you know what? If you have like a glossy accents, that might work too. Or like a diamond glaze, that might work too. Anything that you would use to stick down metal. I'm sure there's other adhesives that people use that are great. I just have a go-to favorite. So there is my layout. I am so happy with it. I love it. I love it so much. Now it just needed a little bit more. I mean, just a bit more, but nothing more. No more flowers, no more, embellishments, no more metal, no more pictures. And if you have been watching some of my videos for a while, you know that almost everything I do has to end with paint somehow. Black paint or white paint, paint spatter or paint drag, anything like that. I just love it so much. I love the look of that. So I'm just using a little bit of black paint and just a paintbrush. I sprayed some water to thin it out. And I'm just going in and putting a little bit of paint spatter here and there, covering up the parts that I do not want paint spatter, because the paint spatter doesn't control me. I control the paint spatter. Yeah, when I'm doing this part of a project, I know that I'm just about done. And I just keep like some scrap cardboard and some scrap just pieces of stuff nearby. And I'm tapping it. I'm holding the brush in my non-writing hand and then tapping it with my, what is that? My bone folder. So this is a really fun layout to do. If you're interested in some close-ups or a little bit more explanation, you can head over to the Sandpaper Road blog. I do have a blog post over there. And also in the description box below this video, I have links to where you can pick up all the products. Some of those links are affiliate links, and they help support Sandpaper Road and just help me to continue to bring you great videos and posts. You're not charged anything extra for those links. It just helps me. I get a few pennies of commission for each purchase. That's all. Kind of like when you're, when you sell beauty products or something, you get a little commission. And that is my layout. Love it. Love it. Hope you're encouraged and inspired to try a unique shaped layout in your next project, album, or your next scrapbook page. Here's a close-up. Again, more close-ups available on the blog. So thank you so much to Craft a Clock for providing the papers and the products today. And as always, thanks for subscribing to the channel. You can check out the products at Sandpaper Road on Etsy. And we'll see you in the next video. Bye-bye.